we're trying to answer one key question, and that question is what do I do next? And the what we found in talking to people is that kind of that ultimate existential question that people used to have, which is why am I alive or why am I here on this earth, that has been replaced with what do I do next? We have so many things to do coming at us from so many different directions that we yearn for prioritization, or what we believe is prioritization. Um, Strangely enough, prioritization isn't actually what we want. What we are looking for here is the ability to know that we're doing the right thing at the right time. And many people who are watching this video are managers. In one way or another, you are part of managing a project or managing a team or something, even if it's just at home, managing the house. Um, we have relationships with others. We have relationships with the people who are working, for us, the people that we're working with the people we're building things for, with people in other parts of the company that are asking us to do things like fill in our timesheets or our expense forms. Um, we have relationships at work, and all of these relationships are what cause all of this noise. Now, they're extremely important and we need to do them right. But when we don't do them right, that is kind of the big bubble of what gets in our way. So in these videos, we're talking again about just how to manage our own personal work, but we need to understand how we're fitting into those other systems so that we can actually manage our personal work effectively. And if you are a manager, I just invite you very quickly, while you're listening to these videos, to think about how when you give other people work, or when you set up projects, or when you let work flow through the system, how are you either helping or hindering people from getting their work done effectively, right? So let's take a look really quickly. So push systems. Push system is just simply that. I come to you and I say, hey, do this, and then you have to do it. And when I do that, I'm doing that without any understanding of what your current workload is, what your capacity is, how you're feeling that day. And that means that you get expectations placed on you, or you place expectations on others that are inappropriate because we don't understand the context of the person doing the work and how we're providing that work. There's a lot of ways that we can calm that context. We can make work delivery kind of automatic and predictable. We can change the nature of the conversation about the exchange of work. We can show people how much everybody's working on at a time and what's coming up. There's a number of things, but push systems as a thing, people pushing work on you, that gets in our way of being able to prioritize effectively. So deadlines. Deadlines are very important. If you don't have a deadline, then you don't know when somebody needs something. We excel at creating unnecessary deadlines, but nonetheless, deadlines show up all the time, and we tend to try and get work done by the deadline. And often we're rushing because we're meeting 2 or 3 deadlines at the same time, or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. And that means that we don't pay attention to the quality of the work, which causes rework, which causes frustration, and all sorts of negative things. So we end up not prioritizing work when we should be doing it. And we prioritize instead to finish the thing that needs to be done by the previous deadline. So, I have a task, and in order to start that task and finish it with quality, I would need to start on it 2 weeks before the deadline. But I've got so much other work that I can only start on it a week before the deadline. That sort of thing. All right. So unknowns. Unknowns, which we'll cover in the complexity video. There are a lot of things out there that we think we're going to be able to just pick up and do in a couple of hours, and it takes 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Maybe because we're interrupted, maybe because it's more complex than we thought it was, maybe because of any number of factors. But we start work and then we run into the unknowns, and the more overloaded we are, the less elegantly we can respond to those unknowns. And that causes all sorts of problems. Induced complications. So this is you and I have a bunch of things that we need to work on together. We always have a bunch of things that we need to work on together. They're always kind of the same thing, but every Monday I'm sending you 5 emails trying to figure out when you're available that week. Why don't you and I set up a regular meeting to just do that work every Wednesday at 3 o'clock? And that's just a standing meeting, and you and I, go through whatever it is that we need to do. We induce a lot of complications into the social relationships of our work by not creating kind of a standard way of working together when we see patterns in collaboration, communication, information flow, whatever it is that we need to do. Lack of context is one that we will talk about in literally every video for the rest of this class. Context is king. No task arrives without somebody wanting something. No task arrives without somebody expecting something. And there's a gulf between a want, a need, and an expectation. And the navigation of that is what actually makes us professionals, is being able to provide what the person wants or what the person needs in a way that they want that matches their expectation. If we don't have context of our work, if we don't understand those things from them, we're in for a world of hurt. We won't be able to prioritize our work if we don't understand what people really need and when they need it by and how they need it delivered. And the last is fake planning. So fake planning, a lot of those deadlines come from fake planning, but fake planning comes from years and years and years and years and years of experience. I myself am a certified urban planner. I've written a lot of plans. You could fill this room. This room extends way that way. They could fill the whole room, and I now wonder about how useful a lot of them are, because I understand now that psychologically, human beings, you and me and everyone else in the world, we don't plan very well. We tend to underestimate things. We tend to have a lot of faith in our own abilities and almost no faith in anybody else's. We tend to assume that we know the answers to questions that are actually pretty difficult. And these things combine to create kind of these rosy pictures of what's coming up. And then we assign work, or we're assigned work from these fake plans that then overload us unwittingly. And the person who wrote the plan feels that that plan that they wrote is completely acceptable, because if you talk about it, it sounds completely rational. But there's a lot of unknowns and induced complications and deadlines and push systems, and people don't know exactly what some of those things in your plan mean. All of those things combine to overload people, to confuse people, to create unnecessary meetings, to destroy learning. Just a whole nasty mess of problems that make it very difficult for us as individuals to prioritize our work, because we're not exactly sure what needs to be done and when. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about over the next 8 videos. Let's go get some work done.